from what you've been learning in school and what you've been learning practically and training with trainers on the field and learning with trainers on the field, where have you seen your schooling may be behind as far as XFIS is concerned? Do you think it's keeping up with what we're learning right now in the field, or is there anything that you've been doing that you've been like, this is a little bit outdated or this is a little bit behind? Because a lot of people, when they're getting into the idea of wanting to learn and train with people, they if they haven't been listening to people in the field, people doing shows like yours and ours, they may think that the schooling way is the best and only way. But a lot of people do that when they get on the field. They're like, oh shit, I really don't even know what the fuck to do when I'm working with somebody, or what works, or how to deal with different types of populations. So where do you feel, if there is anywhere, I don't want to assume, but if there's anywhere that the schooling is falling behind, where would it be?
Well, I can speak to the areas of schooling that I've focused on. And it's, of course, from what I've studied and most of my research thus far, and I'm in a capstone class, so I'm actually able to kind of hone it in on one subject, and that is on recovery. Recovery, and specifically contrast therapy. That's one area where the schooling is, I think, way behind the actual practical. And that is because the schooling, the overall consensus from the entire community is that we don't know. That's the answer to the question of whether or not the contrast therapy actually does anything, whether or not it helps with recovery, whether or not it cuts down into your hypertrophy and you actually lose muscle mass. The overall consensus is we don't know, we need more research. So there's one area where, that could be something where, okay, we need more schooling in order to actually come up with real data. And the only way to get real data on this is to use real people. And I haven't found a study that's done it kind of the way I want to do it. And it's a very, you sort of have to have a few things in place just to conduct the research that I want to do. Namely, you have to have the contrast therapy ready to go right after you do the high intensity interval training or whatever it is you want to do phase one. You have to have those things both on hand, both ready to go. So you're already kind of cutting the margin because you have to have an elite training facility just to even do the research, period. That's one area where I think the schooling is definitely behind. I've found, numerous other areas where you'll have high level coaches that'll have certain, I don't think a degree really means all that much. I do see the value in doing it because it does bring sort of justification to the words you speak. But I have found numerous areas. One subject I just talked about was the subject of velocity training and how exactly that can be implemented into powerlifting. And I didn't know anything about that. So that was one area where schooling really helped me out. But by and large, I think most people learn a lot more from the practical. So is the schooling behind? Is practical more important? I would say yes, practical is more important. And a coach that had to choose between one should always go with the practical. I think that answered the question.